The new Amazing Spider-Man #1 hits $700. A limited C2E2 exclusive with a metal COA and an aluminum case. Is this a great new collectible or just great marketing?
A Crisis Key hiding in a war comic? We dig into the first full appearance of the Monitor. Yes, before Crisis of Infinite Earths #1.
And this week's underrated books, we've got one with the international MCU potential and the other with a low print run final issue gem from Marvel's Western Vault. What? We're talking about Westerns? You know, it's Bronze and Modern Gods. Hello, Richard. How are you?
I'm doing good, John. How are you?
I'm good. I am coming to you hopefully in blistering gross 4K. Got a new camera, got a new setup, got new lighting. You guys, you be the judge. Is this too much? Let us know as we go right to our hot book of the week. Richard, I can't believe this. I don't know what to say.
Our hot book this week is the new Amazing Spider-Man #1. This is Legacy issue number 965. We're getting close to that 1,000 ASL, which is going to be the reason. So this is volume 7 of the Amazing Spider-Man. This cover, and when John's going to put up the cover, this is a C2E2 exclusive. This is a virgin cover of a normal trade dress that is also available as C2E2. But the virgin cover is limited to 100 copies. It's presented in a fine aluminum case with a cutout foam insert to fit the comic gently in its restful bed. And then another cutout at the top for the metal certificate of authenticity. I'm not even going to abbreviate the COA because this is such a big thing. A certificate of authenticity, lightly closed. These all sold out. They sold out pre-order. They held a few back, and had them available at C2E2 at the show. This was an exclusive put out by Comic Exposure. And like I said, it comes in this box, and the book is raw, and you get the COA, and it's going on eBay. This is sold prices. One sold for $500,
Wow.
$4.99.
What was the asking? Well, when you bought it, how much was it?
I don't know. I could not find what the original asking price for this was. It's very
comments, you guys know.
Please do, because there's very little information on it. But another copy sold for $6.99, which I just, and at first I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, this is ridiculous because #1, I always think that any book that has a trade dress and a virgin is never going to reach any kind of stratospheric value because it's just
listeners, viewers, I'll say it for you. But Richard, you always buy both.
I do.
Go on.
Definitely not in this case. Okay. The trade dress for this, you can get the trade dress version for about $45. I've seen it on eBay, but $700 for basically a raw book. Now it is limited to 100 copies, and it does come in this nice presentation. But I don't think $700 is a valid price for this. And if am I wrong? I mean, how do you feel about this?
100 copies, it's almost too scarce. You know what I mean? If you are a huge Spider-Man fan, it's almost like, it's almost like me, Captain America #1. There's only so many copies out there. I don't even think about it. There's so few copies of this. Is anyone really going to chase it? Is it going to be worth anything in 5 years after Spider-Man volume 32 issue 1 comes out? If we all survive the market and everything for comics. But yeah, it seems like a typical C2E2 variant cover cash grab. Anybody cut the line for this one?
Well, the thing is, there's 40 different variant covers for this issue. This is John Tyler Christopher doing the art for this.
Hold on. I don't want that to be left in the dust. There are how many different variant covers for this issue?
40 different variant covers for this for number one.
Let's take a moment. Sip some tea.
Ah, and it's okay. So if you buy this, then you are someone who
Sure.
enjoys the spectacle. Well, I'm you know me. I try to be positive as whatever possible. You enjoy the spectacle, and there is spectacle around this. Think about it. I mean, how I have never heard of this kind of presentation before for a new comic, given basically its own little suitcase, and you open it up and there it is, and I mean, it's the presentation is amazing. I'm surprised somebody hasn't come up with this idea before, but I just don't think it adds value as something that you would want to sell to someone else, or um, assign a value to. If it's important to you and you enjoyed that spectacle and owning that one piece that only 99 other people will have, more power to you. I just think there's better places to put $700.
Yeah. Okay. I'm coming around a little bit. Now I say that because my past life, I worked for a record company where we did deluxe boxes like this.
Mhm.
This is kind of like that same presentation. We did a collection of famous girl groups through the 60s, like very scarce
Mhm.
singles and B-sides and things like that. And it came in what looked like a 1960s hat box. It was all bells and whistles. Inside were 3 CDs, but it was really the presentation. So somebody at Comic Exposure is maybe smart, and they said, okay, let's bump this up and look at what the record companies used to do and make it a box set.
Yeah, but this also could be, it smells a bad idea, and some of the things that they've done, which had this great marketing
Mhm.
footprint, and the initial value of it was through the roof. And then 2 years later, you can't give them away,
Right.
you know?
Speaking
So
of which, their new book has a print run of almost 1 million copies. So we'll be seeing that clogging dollar bins in the next couple of years, I'm sure.
wow. I don't know. There's a sliver of me that thinks, okay, like you said, this is some kind of special presentation, and because of that, and it's so unique that maybe this is going to defy the logic that I have in my head, and it's going to actually be something that's exclusive and valued, and but it just let's just put it this way: I'm not spending $700 on it. Somebody else may. I'm not going to do that.
Free ideal number 2 weeks in a row. Gave you all a free marketing ideal last week with my stupid little app idea. Some shop needs to do something like this with a serious key, like a Fantastic Four #1 or an Incredible Hulk #1, replica, variant, whatever. What do they call it? Facsimile. That's the word I'm struggling for. A foily thing, but it comes in like, for the Fantastic Four one, it comes in a white briefcase with a blue 4 on it, or
Mhm.
something like that. Somebody take it to the next level with something decent, not Amazing Spider-Man Volume 30 #1. No one cares in 5 years.
I think it could really be cool if someone, okay, there's 100 copies only available, but
Mhm.
that doesn't include the 40 other variant covers and the whole print run. It's the same story. It's just the wrap, right? Well, what about if you had 100 copies of a book and they printed 100 copies of it, period? They didn't print any other variants.
Mhm.
This was the only place that you could get that particular story.
The
Yeah.
Wu-Tang album, the one of one that
Yeah.
Pirelli bought, or Scrikelli, or whatever the heck his name was.
So, something, it is real scarcity, not manufactured. Well, it is manufactured, but it's not
It's the very
supposed.
definition of manufactured.
It is kind of manufactured. But you know what? You go in advance knowing you are one of only 100 people that can actually say that they have that story in
Yeah,
that
or at
book.
least have bonus material they can only get in the 100 copies.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. What do you guys think? Let us have it in the comments. We want to know as we switch to our favorite show and tell. Okay, so members, apologies for not having a live stream on Thursday. I was in Florida for work, and I was actually working Thursday night. And we did stop at a couple of comic book shops in Orlando. So one of them, I don't want to call them out, but the wall books were nice, decent selection, really good selection of back issues. I mean, lots of back issues, but man, it's pandemic pricing that just was never corrected. It's still like in Orlando, it's still 2021, everyone. So if you're low on, if you go there, you probably have to fight for toilet paper and everything still.
Wear your mask.
Yeah, wear a mask. But so I find a couple books I actually want, and I ask the people working there, are these wall books negotiable? And they kind of look at each other like, yeah, not really. The owner is the only guy that can change prices, but they have a loyalty program. And so they knew I was from out of town. They said, sign up for our loyalty program, because then you'll get 20% off or $20 off, and then we'll just take the 20 off. I'm like, perfect, because that's the offer I was going to make you, is $20 less. So it all worked out. And I'm glad they worked with me, because one of the books I've wanted for a long time, I can't believe I've never owned this, Richard, in my entire life, not even pre-purges. It is Secret Origins #1.
Oh, I've got a copy of that.
Yeah, I don't have one, and it's got
Wow.
the Challengers, so I had to get it from the Challengers. They had it for $40. It's okay. I would say it's a 3035. That's all I want. I just want a copy of it. I love the purple, and I love the Challengers, and it's just a really cool book.
Oh, it is. It's such a great book. I mean, and that cover is also amazing. It's just, as a kid, you just look at it and you don't know where to actually focus. There's so much cool stuff going on.
Yeah, just a really classic book that just resonated through the ages. So I finally have one. What is your first show and tell book?
I was going a couple different ways. Let's do this because I feel like it.
Okay.
X-Men 94.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm doing this one because there's a lot of talk about the MCU bringing in the X-Men, and we've seen a lot of movement on this book in terms of value. I almost picked this book as the hot book of the week because of all the movement for X-Men characters. So those who don't know, this is the second appearance of the new X-Men, the first one being in Giant Size X-Men #1. And for some reason, this book just is, Giant Size X-Men #1 is a 4-figure, 5-figure book all day long. This book is more of a 3-figure, 4-figure book. And I'm not really sure why, other than the fact that this is possibly the worst cover ever made for comics.
You don't like that Cat Nefaria is barfing out the X-Men?
Yeah, almost terrible. It's terrible. I think it would do better also. I mean, Wolverine isn't on the cover. If Wolverine was on the cover, I think that would help a little bit.
Well, I know that I've read some stories about, at the time the editors thought that Colossus was going to be the big draw. So if you look at all those early X-Men issues, look at how prominent Colossus is on all of them.
This is just a 4.5. It's not a high grade book. I went through a phase where I was buying every one of these I could come across. I was picking them up for, $75, $100 a piece, and getting them slabbed, thinking, oh, okay, they're gonna really skyrocket in value when the X-Men end up in the MCU, and that was 5 years ago. It still hasn't happened. So we are seeing upward movement on this book. Nothing crazy, but there are a lot of copies of this moving.
Is that your only one?
No, I've got a number of them. I have a 6.5 that is signed by Claremont. That is my personal copy, but I've got a number of other ones.
Are you going to sell any of them? Take advantage of this?
I have to do a live sale. I have so much stuff that I need to move. I got college to pay for.
Going back to school? Everyone, we got some breaking news.
Oh, my son.
Oh, okay. All right. I thought about this because I saw that book moving again. I have 94, 95, 96, 97, all slabs, all 9.2 or better.
Oh, wow.
Thought about selling them now.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the X-Men. I've owned them. Okay. Achievement done. Do I cash out?
I hear you. I've been running that scenario in my head a lot recently for books that are to me are cool
Mhm.
and important, but they're not unique enough for me to not be able to replace at some point if I really wanted it again.
Just the 94 was always just one of those white whale books as a kid because I never had one. I had a 95 as a kid. You know, a friend of mine I traded hi Tommy. I traded some comics for that 95, but I never found a 94, you know, that I could trade for it. So when I finally had the opportunity to get one, I got it. But now it's like, the thrill is gone. Challengers of the Unknown, number 4, fresh from Orlando. The Wizard of Time, Jack
No?
Kirby again. I'm just getting my challengers. I'm figuring, you know, they're asking 200. I got that 20 off on that with my new member discount from that shop. And it is a decent one for a challenger's book. I'd say it's a 6570. It's
Oh,
really nice and unpressed, so I can clean and press it. And I have 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 now.
oh, you don't have one?
I don't have a 1 yet. Still waiting. Still waiting. Yeah, maybe I'll trade an X-Men 94 for a Challengers of the Unknown number 1, and everyone can make fun of me. What is your next show and tell book?
I was going to do some retreads here. These are books that I've shown. My original theme was going to be good girl art, strangely enough, and but I wanted to talk about the X-Men. But I've got this beautiful book by Will Jack, Action Comics 1053,
You
Power
will
Girl.
you will what? You know, since you're showing it again, I thought I'd do the same joke again.
Yeah, same joke.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've shown this one before.
There you go.
So yeah, this book had some heat after it when it came out. There was a lot of pre-orders. This is the virgin copy. Notice no trade dress, and it was tough to get a hold. They sold out very quickly. This was Eastside Comics exclusive cover. There is one with trade dress on it as well that did not sell for as much. I picked it up. I have a secret technique for these. I always say I have really good luck at store exclusives. I figured out a trick to how to get in line early, and it's worked. It works
You're
about.
gonna share this, or we're just gonna tease everyone with it?
No, it's just a matter of being prepared, having your credit card information all in and everything all set, and you get the page. You do dry runs through it to make sure you understand the flow, so that you're not wasting time reading anything, and then um, 30 seconds before it opens, you start prepping and refreshing the page, and then at 5 seconds before you hit the button and keep hitting it, and then you get in. You've already got your credit card information in. All you got to do is go follow your muscle memory that you built up to get to the page. Go ahead and buy the copy that you want. Seriously, it's all preparation, and then you click on you click on checkout and get yourself through the checkout process, and you're done. If you waste any time hesitating, the odds are you're not going to get what you want. But if you've gotten enough preparation, it should be easy enough to do.
Sounds like getting a badge at Comic-Con. Dear Lord.
It's almost as bad. Yeah.
Um, The Prisoner, number 1 from DC.
Oh,
This
okay. I've never read that.
It's a sequel to the TV show The Prisoner.
Uh-huh.
It takes place, I think this is 1988. It takes place in the present day, whereas the original series takes place in the 60s or some fixed point in time.
Mm-hmm.
I have them. I love The Prisoner. I've never read it. So I don't know if it's any good. I remember reviews at the time were like, okay, this is all right.
I remember watching The Prisoner, and I can't say that was really attached to it. Though I remember one episode specifically where they trained him to be left-handed, and so he wasn't born left-handed. All of a sudden, he's left-handed, and he uses a lamp, and the light takes the light bulb out and shocks himself until he gets himself to be back right-handed. It was a very very strange episode, but pretty much on par with most of the Prisoner episodes that I read.
Sounds typical. What and is you did you start? No, I started. What's your last show and tell book?
My last book, I have a couple different ones. We'll do this one because I love infinite covers. Tarot number 1. With this beautiful infinite cover. It's in a bag, which makes it tough to see. If you see she's holding up a comic, and the comic is holding up a comic, and et cetera, et cetera. This is David Nakayama. I know you're not a big fan of his.
I don't mind him. I just, looks like every other cover.
Yeah, this one's about $500 book.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Does it have infinity cover on the notes on the label?
It sure does.
Oh, there you go. Some people collect infinity covers, man.
Yeah. And the last one I was going to do was, everyone's seen this one. This is Young Allies. I am a huge fan of Art Adams' work, and just love this cover. It's a hard cover to come across. This is 1 in 15. They for the last issue of a series that wasn't very popular. So this one goes for a pretty penny. I mean, even a 9.0 I think is about $1,700. So
shopping bag collection.
No, this one is one that I have an alert on eBay, and I for literally 2 copies of this book would show up a year, and so you had to be really fast on grabbing your copy. So I had an alert and managed to grab. I think I've had 3 over the years. Sold off a couple, which I regret because value really just skyrocketed here in the past year or 2.
I said shopping bag. I meant stroller collection for everybody that's
stroller.
It's a stroller collection, John.
Got a different book for that one. I didn't get that one there.
Yeah, if you're new, go back and go through the archives and learn about the stroller collection. Maybe one of our members can tell you about it. What's that? Who's a member? What's a member? You support the show by becoming a member here on YouTube. It's $2.99 a month, and you get live members only streams, promise, every Thursday, except for when I'm in Orlando. And then Wednesday, extra show and tell episodes. You get to see your name scroll by here. We got a couple new names here this week. Thank you all so much. Helps Richard and I go to more shows. We've got a couple coming up and provide coverage for you in 2025. Just hit join next to the subscribe button below. Or if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, just go to the description and hit the link as we pivot to your viewer mail.
You've got
Richard,
mail.
Start us off.
My first piece of viewer mail is from Eli Ruiz Jr. Eli, great show, guys. I agree with you both that The Fifth Element is a great, fun popcorn movie. Great visuals and crazy sci-fi plot. Absolutely. The director and writer, Luc Besson, was sued by Alejandro Jodorowsky. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mobius,
Jean-Gerard Mobius, claiming it plagiarized their book, The Incal. I flipped through the Incal book, and it does seem some visual similarities between them, but I haven't read it. I can't make my own judgment. The court case was ultimately dismissed due to only finding a few instances that may have been lifted from the book. Have you read The Incal? I have not. Have you read it?
Yeah. I believe there were 4 graphic novels that came out. Marvel reprinted them in English back in the day when I was managing the shop in Ohio. That's the only reason I read it, because, I wasn't going to pay that graphic novel price for 4 of them. I do not remember a thing. Just that it was visually stunning, as all Mobius is. So I don't know how many similarities there are with The Fifth Element. People out there.
Yes. One of my favorite movies. It's funny. Bruce Willis is prominent in a lot of my favorite movies. Fifth Element, Hudson Hawk, the whole Die Hard series. He's also things like Pulp Fiction, and I really miss him as an actor. I miss his energy that he would always bring to the set.
Richard defending Hudson Hawk 2 weeks in a row.
Yes, Hudson Hawk is a great. If you like Fifth Element and you can accept it as a good movie, even though it isn't, Hudson Hawk is just as entertaining, if not more so.
We'll let you face the wrath of the commenters as I go to our friend River Rambler, who has thoughts about last week's subject of Mary Jane as the new Venom. Mary Jane becoming Venom is in complete opposition to continuity. Amen. Venom's first appearance is him waiting for Mary Jane in Peter's apartment. She thinks it's Peter in the black costume, and then the mouth smiles. This scares her so much that she demands that Peter hang up the black costume. For decades, every time the black suit came back, Peter had to clear it with MJ. I know it sounds silly to care about that at times, but if the companies don't care about their continuity, then why should anybody else? River Ambler, that's exactly why Richard and I were appalled and just kind of shrugged our shoulders at this. It just seems so clickbaity.
It really is. It's one of those. Yeah, clickbaity is a great way of putting it. You're doing it for the shock value, and look at us. We're going to break continuity. We're so edgy. It's unnecessary. There's so many other storylines you could have told rather than making this abomination up.
I am always on the side of the creative teams, though. There may be a twist. We don't know yet. There may be a story here where this pays off. But after Cap is Hydra, I don't have the time or the patience anymore. I just don't care.
I would have loved to see your face when Cap said "Hail Hydra" on that page.
Wasn't as bad as Heroes Reborn #1, but it was close. No. What is your next viewer mail? Change it quick.
My next piece is from Jay Hoda, friend of the show, talking about Judge Dredd. Dredd is an American. Mega City 1 is on the U.S. East Coast. I'm sorry if I had said, I may have, I don't remember why. I know 100% that the Mega City 1 is on the East Coast, and there's, the United States has become this desolate wasteland, and human population is clustered in certain areas like the East Coast of the United States. So Mega City 1 is, goes all the way from Maine down through the South, and it's just one giant city, and that's where Judge Dredd resides. He was never English. Maybe I said he was English. Jay Hoda, I apologize, because that was just me being me. I know 100% fact you are absolutely right. Judge Dredd is an American, even though the stories is written in England, and it's kind of an American, an English take on Americans. So that it does have kind of a little bit of a twist to it. But anyway, thanks for your comment and keeping us honest.
There you go. Next up is our buddy Brent Sobleski talking about cross-gen, which we brought up last week. Howdy, gents. I definitely fell into the category of a cross-gen fan. In my early 20s at the time, it was fun to get on the ground level of a brand new comic universe, since early issues of Marvel and DC were basically inaccessible to me. As mentioned on last week's show, the quality of the books and diverse themes made the company stick out at first. Interestingly, the company's logo also served as a MacGuffin, where one character in each series adorned the sigil, which gave them some sort of powers. At the time, Scion and Sojourn were my favorite titles. They pushed Jim Cheung and Greg Land, oh dear, into the mainstream as full-time artists. Obviously, this period came before all the controversy surrounding Land's work, but those two titles were so beautifully done at the time. Cheung remains one of my all-time favorite artists to this day. I still have many of the issues, and they are a good read if anyone is curious and finds them in the bins. Yeah, I wonder if they're super cheap now. Yeah, I can't imagine. People are going, man, maybe they're like Valiant, people still go for those Valiant runs. Maybe people want to go full. Yeah. Absolutely apropos of nothing we're talking about right now, but I want to stop for a second and ask you, dear viewer, dear listener, and Richard, have you seen the season premiere of Doctor Who?
I have not.
Season 2 with Nicola. It's friggin' amazing. If you have given up, you walked away, you came back for the Tenet specials, then you walked away again when you saw Space Babies. Come back. They're beckoning you. Come back to Disney Plus. If you're over in the UK, BBC One. Watch it. Watch the first 15 minutes. That's all I ask if you're a Doctor Who fan. And then you can curse me for getting you back into it.
Okay. Second season, you're saying.
The one that just premiered this past week.
That
Telling
good.
you. Yeah. You guys tell me if I'm wrong, if I'm full of it. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah, I've been spotty with the reboot. You know, the watching episodes here and there.
I left with Capaldi.
Mhm.
And I dip in here and there, and I'm like, okay, there's some good, some bad. The consistency hasn't been there. This may be the case now. This may be one of the good ones, and then next week it goes right to hell again. But we'll see. What is your next piece of viewer mail?
My next piece of viewer mail happens to be our buddy Brian Tidwell correcting me. I was talking about Judge Dredd again, and was mentioning one of the characters from the um, Sylvester Stallone movie, and I could not remember his name. He's got a dial on his head that you can dial up the level of violence that he commits. His name was Mean Machine.
Oh, look
He's
at
got a
that.
couple pictures of him. There's a picture of what he looked like in the movie, and then a picture of for him on in the comic. He's one of the Angel family. If I always love Pa Angels and his Pisons making poison. They're recurring villains for Judge Dredd, always turning up like a bad penny, but they're entertaining. It's kind of like the Wrecking Crew in Marvel. They're people to beat on. But
Yeah.
yeah, Mean Machine is a very unique character. I've always thought he's definitely challenged in terms of body parts, but he's a very simple kind of guy. But yeah, Mean Machine was the name I could not remember. I just to reiterate, I enjoyed the first movie of Judge Dredd with Sylvester Stallone. I will not defend it as a good movie. Rob Schneider, I could have done without him, but it was an enjoyable romp. The Carl Urban Dread movie was, in my opinion, a good movie, and I'll defend that all day long as being a good movie. And if you're a Dread fan, I think you do yourself a disservice, John, of not having watched that movie.
Richard defending the Stallone Dread movie and Hudson Hawk again,
Yeah.
2 weeks in a row. Speaking of Doctor Who, our next piece of viewer mail comes from TARDIS Writer.
Oh, wow.
John and Richard, I'm a relatively new viewer. Welcome. But I'm delighted to have found your channel. It's great to have informative, good discussions about the hobby that I've been enjoying for 50-something years now. However, I do have one complaint. I keep getting distracted by the poster for the Europe 72 box set behind John. What's the deal with that, John? Do you have the trunk? I know it's not comics, but as a guy who saw Jerry almost 100 times, I can't not ask about it. All joking aside, keep up the good work. I'll be watching. Roger Gray, aka in some corners of the interwebs as TARDIS Writer. Oh, TARDIS Writer. Roger. That is not a poster. That is a gold record award that I got for working with the Grateful Dead at my oldest job. That's the other gold records I have from working there. I don't think I have to tell you what label it was. If you're a Deadhead, you know what label it was. And I was one of the people who ran. I was the head of DeadNet at the time, the online store, when we sold that trunk, Europe 72. I forget how many CDs are in it. Every show recorded on those CDs. Our president was white knuckling it. We thought we were going to be stuck with tons of product, but we sold out in 4 hours. That trunk goes for ridiculous amounts on eBay now. Yes, I sold mine. Sorry. I'm not the biggest Grateful Dead fan, he said cautiously. Not
That
too.
is an understatement.
Well, you know what? If they're paying me, I'm a fan. I love your stuff. It's great. I came around. I know a lot about Grateful Dead now. I did not know a lot about the Grateful Dead when I started there.
You like Fish more or Grateful Dead?
Oh, Grateful Dead, Fish.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a new wave 80s guy, So I always saw Grateful Dead as the enemy. And then the first record, it's a power pop record. I don't know if you ever heard the very first Grateful Dead record. It is not indicative of what they became. Poor Rogers is probably like screaming at his screen right now as I'm talking. I know you, TARDIS writer. See, there's a dead reference right there using his name. I can tell you about Scarlet Begonias going into oh god, I just blanked. What's the song where space or the drums in space? I know all this stuff from being working with the Dead for 13 years. So yes, that is a Grateful Dead gold record that I have.
Yeah, John is very humble. He has a not one, not two, but 6 gold records at this point.
Richard, I'm humble for a reason. I have more than that. All right. I've been doing this for a long time. What can I say? I'm an old fart. It's time for the old fart rule. Yeah, 40 years we go back to 1985 for the old fart rule, little segment of our show where we go back 40 years for the books that shaped our lives and our collections. Here's a weird one. Not so much for this show. We talk about war books all the time, but this is GI Combat number 274. This is, believe it or not, the first full appearance of the Monitor from Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah, I read that. That's wild.
The Monitor appears before the ghost of General Jeb Stuart in the haunted tank on the spirit plane as the general becomes aware of him as both continue to view the haunted tank and the crew in action. This is the first full physical appearance of the Monitor before Crisis on Infinite Earths number 1. It's crazy. Every book in the DC line had some sort of Crisis tie-in or the Monitor. I'm reading the entire run of the Warlord on my iPad right now, and there's an issue where there's the Monitor's hand in the Warlord's world watching, and then the red skies come and it sets off a volcano in the middle of a fight. They're like, what's happening to the planet? Can you believe they got Robert Kanigher to write the Monitor into a haunted tank story? What was that conversation like?
I must have been money. It's all I can.
You have no choice, sir. If you want to keep writing this book, you have to tie this in. A raw copy of this book, strangely enough, only about $5 or $6.
Wow.
Seems to be a little known, underrated Crisis key. Do people care about the Crisis on Infinite Earths anymore as a collectible? They have to. They're doing all those facsimiles.
Yeah, I don't. But they do those facsimiles so slapdash as it's just random issues they decide to make facsimiles. It really drives me crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy the way what they pick sometimes. These dollar comic war titles, they're great buys. They're just jam-packed with stories and great art. Sam Glanzman, Huberts. They're tough and great too, because the people that were the collectors were not buying GI Combat in 1985. It was all newsstand readers, guys, killing time at the barber shop or whatever. So they read these books. I have a run of the dollar comic GI Combats. Man, it has taken me forever to get a full run in 9.0 or above. Lower print runs. So if you like the thrill of the hunt, go for these.
I'm sorry, John. That book is $1.25.
Yes, that's right. They had dropped the dollar comics at this point, but they kept it double sized. So yeah, they couldn't call it a dollar comic. That and World's Finest, I think, were the two that hung on to the bitter end, and they had to go to $1.25. Ooh.
No, but you nailed it. I mean, this is a book you saw on, when you're getting your hair cut and you're sitting there waiting. There's a whole stack of magazines, and then there's another stack of comics for the kids. And you find GI Combat. I used to see Commandy in that stack all the time too. So yeah, a lot of DC books. I think because DC was a little more mild than Marvel was in terms of violence, and
well, it also wasn't all superheroes. You had the mystery books, Ghosts, House of Mystery. You had horror books. Boy, I remember haircuts. That was fun. That's good. Hey, our underrated books of the week, Richard. Take it away.
Yeah, I picked Black Cat Annual number 1. This is the second series of Black Cat. This is from 2021. It's the first appearance of a team called the Tiger Division.
Yes.
It's an all South Korean superhero team that includes White Fox, Luna Snow, who is in Marvel Rivals, And one of my other favorite names, Auntie Auntie. Auntie as a cards, ANTE. She has a magic deck of cards that she can throw. Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of cringy how close she seems to be to Gambit.
I was gonna say Auntie versus Gambit coming to a screen near you.
There are some differences in how her power works. She can make teleportation gates and things like that with her cards. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. But with Marvel, the thing about Marvel Rivals, which is a incredibly popular game, it's written by an I don't know if it's a Chinese company or it's at least an Asian company that developed the game. And it's an international market for playing this game, and the characters. I think we're going to see more diversity in the characters in terms of having characters from different parts of the world. So John and I are always harping on these Asian characters as potential if Marvel decides to spread the outreach to other areas. And I think this is a nice one because of Marvel Rivals. They're constantly adding new characters to the game. They have different seasons, and each season they add 3 or 4 characters to the game, and so they're going to want to have some variance in that. And maybe one of these other characters, like White Fox, will become a character in Marvel Rivals. You can get a copy of this book, $10, $5-10 on eBay right now. It's not very expensive. There's a second print to this book that has a different cover. I'm not sure about the rarity of the second print, but usually second prints have a smaller print run. So if you're looking and you see a second print for a couple bucks, I definitely grab one. Mm-hmm. To me, this is cheap speculation for 2025. I'm not recommending anybody go spend a fortune on comics right now, but definitely something like this you can put in your short box and just sit on it and see if something happens.
I'm smirking because I believe I have a few copies of this in my $3 box that I do for live sales, where if you buy something, you get an additional 2 books for $3. So do I need to go and pull out? I don't know.
No, it's cool. I mean, White Fox is the main character there on the cover. Black Cat is also. This is not their first appearance. Their first appearance happened in Taskmaster. Gosh, I can't remember the issue number.
I think 13. Issue 2. Yeah.
But
I had a one shot last year too. Tiger Division #1, I think. Yeah.
Yep. The Taskmaster didn't show the full team. This is the first appearance of all the team members, and they have a little blurb on each member on the team in this issue. So it's helpful to determine what these characters do. So just a fun book.
Very cool. Mine is nothing like that. My underrated book this week is Kid Colt Outlaw #229. What is important about this book? Well, it is the last issue of Kid Colt Outlaw. Wow. 1979, April 1979, a book that began in 1949.
That's amazing.
Ran all that time. This is a reprint of Giant Size Kid Colt #1 that teamed up Kid Colt and the Rawhide Kid. Which is a very tough book. If you can't find a copy of Giant Size Kid Colt #1, here is Kid Colt Outlaw #229 if you want to read the story. Last issue, low print run, April 1979. No one's buying Kid Colt. They're buying Uncanny X-Men by Byrne and Claremont. They're buying Fantastic Four. So you have a low print run here. You've got just a very scarce book. These Westerns in grade are very, very tough. The last GPA sale was for an 8.0 last April for $40.
Wow.
Raws of this book in mid-grade are $10 on eBay right now. Not any high-grade sales I can see in the last few months. So very tough book, along with Rawhide Kid. 149, I think, is the last issue. Came, I think, a month after this or 2 months after this. So Marvel pruning their line in 1979. Lots of books got canceled in 1979. It was kind of their version of the implosion, the DC implosion.
So that title didn't run consecutively from that period, right? There were periods of time when it wasn't running.
A very short period where it was canceled for like a year in the late 60s, and then they picked it up again as a reprint title. And so it was almost nearly consecutive from 1949 to 79, 30 years.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. Big part of Marvel history that people just forget about. You know, those Westerns ran forever. Those are the only comics my dad read as a kid. He didn't read superheroes, he read Westerns.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, the age you grow up in, you know,
Mhm.
Daniel Boone and all that kind of tempered people from that generation to like Westerns. And I think that influenced you
Yep.
and your love for Westerns too.
Well, I don't buy Red Rider. That's my daddy's dream. Red Rider. Yep. Shoot your eye out, kid. Hey, members, we'll see you Wednesday. Everyone else, we'll see you next Monday. Thanks for joining us.
Yep, everybody, stay safe.